The 40mm focal length has been gaining some popularity lately. You get nearly the versatility of something like a 35mm with some more of the subject separation that you'd see maybe with a 50mm. Really the more strange thing here is that you're splitting an f2 and an f2.8 because both of these lenses are coming in at f2.5. And maybe this is marketing, maybe this is all that they could do, I don't know. But this wave of f2.5 lenses really is new in my opinion. Sony initially released this lens back in early 2021. And the idea is that it's a super compact, actually pretty well built little lens that offers great versatility, and it offers prime optics at a somewhat slower f2.5. Now there is a new one from Viltrox. This is also a 40mm, also f2.5, and of course it's a lot less money. In fact, you can buy 3 of these Viltrox lenses for the price of just one of these Sonys. And in this video, what I'm going to attempt to figure out is why the Sony is worth way more. Side by side, these lenses look quite similar. The Sony is a little shorter and it does weigh a little bit more at 184 grams versus the Viltrox's 168 grams. The Sony's build is better, it's all metal, and it feels more premium in the hand. The Viltrox is mostly plastic, however, it feels well put together with good finishes. The Sony is weather sealed, whereas the Viltrox is not. You also get an aperture ring, a focus hold button, autofocus switch, and a click on and off switch with the Sony. With the Viltrox, you get a USB-C port for firmware updates, and on the side, nothing but a focus ring. Front lens elements are close in size. The Sony has a 49mm filter thread versus 52 on the Viltrox. Inside the Sony is 9 elements in 9 groups. The Viltrox is 10 elements in 6 groups. Both have a 7-bladed diaphragm. The Sony has 2 linear motors for autofocus, and the Viltrox accomplishes that task with a single STM or stepper motor. Now I do want to spend a significant portion of this video looking at comparison shots between these two lenses, but before I do, let's see what this Viltrox can do on something like an older, simple full-frame camera, my Sony a7C, and while I'm at it, I'll throw in a couple of shots off of my a6700 and a6100 just for fun. Ready, set, go. Okay, so things look pretty good overall. It's not going to give you a dramatic subject separation look like something that like a 50mm f1.4 would give you, but I found that this Viltrox at least is sharp in the centers, wide open at f2.5, and it's also quite sharp in the corners as well. There is some vignetting at f2.5, but beyond that, the barrel distortion looks well controlled. The colors are nice, the contrast levels are great, and the bokeh is mostly pleasing, but sometimes just a little bit busy. Now, putting it up side by side against the $600 Sony, the Viltrox is just as sharp in the center of the frame. In fact, the only noticeable differences between the shots was that the a7C that I was using always exposed the Sony a little brighter with a little slower shutter speed. The background bokeh balls are larger with the Viltrox but have some outlining, whereas with the Sony the balls are footballs with good uniformity. In general, the bokeh on the Sony is a bit smoother and less busy. I was expecting sharpness to be a blowout, but here in the center, the Viltrox is just as sharp, and in the corners, it's a touch sharper. And that applies to any corner that you go to. The Viltrox just looks a little bit better. I did this test again with another photo, and I'll let the results speak for themselves. There's no denying that the Viltrox is resolving more details in the corners. For portraiture, the center of the frame looks equally sharp with both lenses. Bokeh in this example is very similar. Again, I will say that the Sony bokeh rendering is smoother. Now on a flat brick wall, wide open, the Viltrox is sharper. It does have darker corners, however. And here is the last photo comparison. The Viltrox has more chromatic aberration than the Sony, and that is clearly seen. The Sony does have some, but it is better controlled without question. And in terms of flare, neither one of these lenses outperforms the other in my opinion. It's just a matter of which flare you prefer over the other. And what's interesting is that in terms of autofocus, there's really nothing to complain about with the Viltrox. It's quick enough for photos, it's nearly silent, and it even does a really good job of tracking a subject in video modes, really no matter which camera that you put it on. So in summary, the Sony has more switches and buttons, it's all metal in construction, and it is weather sealed, whereas the Viltrox appears to be just as sharp in the center, wide open, a little bit sharper in the corners, but with some vignetting and some chromatic aberration, and slightly busier bokeh. Now note that I am testing these lenses on an older small megapixel full frame Sony camera. So if you have something with a larger, 60 megapixel sensor, then these results may differ. But if you're not zooming in to check the differences between these two, they both offer very, very similar results. Now, are there reasons enough to justify buying the Sony? Well, to the right person, absolutely. The extra goodies and the construction are going to be worth the money, there's no question. However, there's no denying the value that the Viltrox represents. At $168 US, it's a remarkable performing lens that goes up against something that's significantly more expensive. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think between these two lenses. Which one would you guys spend your money on? Do you guys see a big difference or something drastic that the Sony does better than the Viltrox? Let me know down in the comments. As usual, I will link both of these lenses down in the description. So if you guys want to read more about them, check out current pricing, all that fun stuff, check out those links down below. But do go into the comments and let me know what you guys think, because I am genuinely curious, and you guys can probably tell I'm a bit surprised at the outcome of this comparison. So this Sony is a rental. I have to send it back today, but this Viltrox was sent to me by Viltrox for review, so thank you to Viltrox, and I am impressed by it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.